Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. Yes, we're in the studio, but no, it's not live. But that shouldn't stop you lot, yes you, getting involved in the comments. We've got loads of stories to get through involving the new regime, shall we say, at Manchester United Football Club. And as you guessed from the thumbnail, there could be a big hitter coming back to have some sort of help and advisory role. We'll see. We'll get into that in a minute as well. Also, a little bit about the international break that we've probably already had enough of. I know I have. I'm not really bothered. And England haven't even played yet. And to be honest with you, I don't care when they do. And another player, or not another player, sorry, another legend, not necessarily a United legend, that's been linked with a role at Manchester United. So there's all sorts going on. But the first thing and the most important thing is making sure you are hitting like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribing to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 750,000 subscribers by Christmas. Why not? We can do it. Aim high. Right, let's talk about our potential new CEO. We know that Richard Arnold is going. He's done. It's it. It's over for him. Now, it looks like this kid, Jean-Claude Blanc, I say kid, he's older than me. Well, I know he's older than me. It could be succeeding Richard Arnold. Now, you see, this is in the Telegraph, but we've got it from the Evening News because, you know, pesky paywalls and all that. It says, Blanc is a leading figure at Ineos Sport, and Arnold jumped before he was pushed ahead of Sir Jim Ratcliffe's purchase of a 25% stake in the club being ratified. The report claims that Blanc, who left a senior role at Paris Saint-Germain last December to oversee the entire Ineos Sport portfolio, is under consideration to replace Arnold. It says there, Blanc was also formerly the chief executive at Juve. Now, I had a little bit of a look at this. I've not gone into a deep dive, so by all means do your own research. I'm sure it's better than mine. But it looks like Blanc at Juve was a bit of a success. He came in after the Calciopoli scandal, the scandal that Juve got embroiled in. They got relegated, if you remember. I think it went down to Serie B. He came in there, he got the club going again. He oversaw, I think, the new stadium, and they moved from the Stade d'Alpe. Just did a bit of an overhaul of the club, which was needed, and did, from what we can gather, a very good job there. He's also been involved in Paris Saint-Germain as well, so he's got sort of a history, a CV, an understanding, an experience of managing, or of overseeing, I should say, big clubs, of being in a role at a big club. Juve, the biggest club in Italy, one of the biggest clubs in the world. I wouldn't say they're as big as Manchester United, but they're comparable. And he's obviously done a very good job there in a similar circumstance. I know United haven't been relegated to the Championship, but coming into a club that needs a bit of an overhaul. Because we can all agree that regardless of whether you like Erik ten Hag or what's, you know, the players we've got or whatever, the club as a whole needs, what was it Ralph Rangnick said? I think he said about the team. I think he could have said about the club. Open heart surgery. We know we've got a bit of a shambolic system and strategy or structure, if you can call it any of those things, at Manchester United. So bringing in someone like Jean-Claude Blanc might be the answer. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to get carried away. I don't know a lot about him. I've never even heard of him till a few months ago. So I'm not going to suddenly go, he's our saviour, he's the guy I've always wanted. This means that we're going to, you know, win the treble. But it does seem to make a lot of sense that we're bringing in people with experience of football, of being around football clubs, of overseeing football clubs, of being involved in football clubs. When you had the likes of Ed Woodward, who's a banker, or even Richard Arnold, who'd been at Manchester United for a while but didn't have a footballing background, you just kind of think, do these people know what they're doing? No. Jean-Claude Blanc certainly has that experience. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if he even comes into the role. It's not set in stone yet, but it certainly makes a lot of sense. I just want to talk quickly about Scott McTominay. A few months ago, he was the forgotten man of Manchester United, but now he's the darling of Scottish football and, to a lesser degree, of Manchester United as well. He had a bit of a dig at the opponents last night. If you just scroll down, was it Georgia they were playing last night? Scotland, I can't even remember. Yeah, they played Georgia. They drew 2-2. Scott McTominay scored. The only reason I flagged this story up, he's calling the behaviour of the Georgian team a disgrace, but just flagged it up about the fact that he scored again. He's just in a good bit of form, and Scott McTominay. He seems to be playing well, enjoying his football, and it's good to see. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I've always been Scott McTominay's biggest fan. There was a time when I thought he might be going, and I thought it might be best if he did, but he stayed at Manchester United. He's got his head down. He's become an important part of the team. He's obviously flying with Scotland. They've already qualified for the Euros, which is obviously massive for them. So long may it continue. It's always good to see Manchester United players doing well. yes, I'm not too bothered about the international break, but if our players are going to play in it, you want them to be playing well and scoring, which is what Scott McTominay is doing. So more power to him, and hopefully he can continue that form and bring it back to the Premier League for Manchester United. Let's talk about Sir Alex Ferguson. Love talking about Sir Alex. Now, here it says in that, again, we've bypassed the old paywall on the Telegraph by going to the Evening News and reporting it. Just needs must, man. Times are hard. We don't make as much money on YouTube as you lot think. It says here, Ratcliffe to be guided by Ferguson. Sir Jim Ratcliffe will take the advice of Sir Alex Ferguson when making decisions about boardroom changes in his role overseeing football operations upon his 25% stake purchase. That's according to the Telegraph, who claims this would come as a boost for Dougie Freedman's prospect, who has been linked with a job at United. Yeah, Dougie Freedman, who's at Palace, has been linked with a job at Manchester United as some sort of sporting director or director of football. We're going to be doing something on that. I think Joe Smith's going to have a video out on that tomorrow morning, looking at Dougie Freedman, because I was talking about this the other day. It's easy to dismiss Dougie Freedman and go, oh, Palace. But he's done a very good job there, and at least he's got experience of that particular role. Anyway, Fergie being brought in to give some advice. Let me know what you think about that. I'm all for it. I think there's always a little bit of resistance when it comes to Sir Alex, because he's the greatest manager of all time. We should all love Alex Ferguson. If you don't love Alex Ferguson, then I don't know what's up with you. You're not a United fan. But there's some people that go, well, Fergie, is he the man to keep turning to? Should he be involved in decision-making now? Should he not just be more of an ambassador for the club, enjoying his retirement, giving interviews, doing meet and greets, all that sort of jazz? I understand that, but I think when you've got a man like Sir Alex Ferguson, who is the most successful manager the Premier League's ever seen, who is Manchester United's most successful ever manager, who knows the club better than anyone, who knows what it's like to be a manager at Manchester United and have the right people above you and have people in the boardroom that back you better than anyone, then I think that can be a good thing. I think bringing in Sir Alex or just getting some advice from him is a positive. Remember when Eric Ten Hag sat down and had a meal, I think, with Sir Alex Ferguson? There was all those pictures doing the rounds, weren't there? I think little things like that make sense to me. You don't have to have him in your office 24/7 telling you what to do. But just meeting with him, just saying, look, here's some ideas we've got. What do you make of that? Sir Jim Ratcliffe is a very, very determined and savvy businessman. He's not going to be told what to do by anyone. I don't think he'll be told what to do by the Glazers. I think, personally, this 25% stake will increase over the coming years until he's eventually in full control of the football club. But in the meantime, I think he'll always take, advice or whatever. I don't see him being told by Sir Alex or anyone what he's going to do, but it's always, for me, a good idea to tap into that experience, tap into that knowledge. Far too often, over the last 10 years in particular, at Manchester United, we've been listening to the wrong people. We've been listening to bankers and people involved in the finance world, not people who know about football. No one knows more about football at Manchester United than Sir Alex Ferguson. He even knows more than me. So listen to him, get him to guide you. I haven't got a problem with that. Obviously, you're not just going to do as he says. I don't think that's a good idea. I think you need to take on board what he's got to say and then use that. I'm all for it. Another story doing the rounds as well. This one came from nowhere. I think it was doing the rounds yesterday evening, but we've got it today, so we'll just get into it. It's about Paulo Maldini, one of the greatest players of all time. It says Sir Jim Ratcliffe considering a move for AC Milan legend Paulo Maldini as next Manchester United sporting director. Got it from the Metro. I think this may have originated from the Sun. Hashtag don't buy the Sun. And we would never put that on screen. Says he's looking at maybe bringing in the Italian legend or AC Milan legend as sporting director. I love Paulo Maldini. I think he's one of the best players ever. And he's one of those players that I've always had a bit of a soft spot for. I know he's not affiliated with Manchester United anyway, but you can always admire him, respect him, what he achieved at the game, how good he was. He always comes across well in interviews as well. I don't necessarily think he's the right man to come into Manchester United as sporting director. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't know whether he's got the contacts within the English game, whether he's got an understanding of what's going on in the Premier League, Manchester United itself, any of that sort of jazz that you might think makes you the perfect fit for sporting director at Manchester United. He's a big name, he's well respected, there's positives there. It just feels a little bit like, let's get him in because he's a mega star in the football world. I think we need to start thinking a little bit more from a sort of experience in that role and understanding of the Premier League point of view. That's my opinion. You may differ. Get involved in the comments. Let me know what you think. Do you want to see Paulo Maldini coming into Manchester United? Do you want to see Sir Alex Ferguson being given a more hands-on role? Do you think Fergie could give Eric Ten Hag a bit more backing if he's listening to, or if Sir Jim Ratcliffe's listening to him? He might say, look, you need to stick with this manager because people stuck with me back in the day when I was struggling, and look where that ended up. Get involved in the comments and let us know. Make sure you are hitting like, share, and subscribe as well. I've been Jay Motty. This has been the Paper Talk, not live, but from the studio. Thanks for watching.